know exactly what is out there.
Hi everybody and welcome to BevanWorld, the Explosion Network's Westworld Aftershow, where we break down the episode each one by each one and talk about all the things. Of course, this week we are talking about the season finale of Westworld, titled
Correct.
The Passenger, directed by Frederick E.O. Toy, writers Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joyce. So they got the head honchos on as the writers of the last one. Of course, that makes sense. And what an episode, Nick.
Oh boy, was it just that?
So, if for some reason this is the first one of these you've ever watched, we will eventually break it down bit by bit. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on the audio version, we do stream this live on Twitch. At this point, you're pretty much missed out on the whole season if you're randomly discovering this show.
Very much so.
We'll have one more episode next week, but other than that, we'll be back in 4 years when this show comes back for its third season. I don't know if it's 4 years. It's probably just going to be another 2 years, would be my guess. Before we jump into breaking it down bit by bit, though, Nick, let's overall thoughts and opinions on the episode, and then before we jump into the usual thing, cover this topic for me. I saw a lot of negativity on Twitter after the episode aired. Saw a lot of people, talking about the show being too wanky, too confusing, hated the timeline thing this episode, hated that this season finale didn't give all the answers they wanted, hated some of the plot resolutions. I saw people just writing tweets like, why can't you just give us a linear storyline, which I think is complete garbage, these sorts of things. But we've covered the criticism of this season before, but it was very vocal in the finale. Yes, I feel like it was. But yeah, overall, what were your thoughts and what do you think of the reaction?
Going away from it, I was overall pretty happy with it, with my head exploded, but I think during the course of it, it was very up and down for me.
Yeah? In what way?
Well, there were parts that are just had me scratching my head, not as in like implications of story-wise, just like stupid decisions and out of character kind of like motivations and stuff like that just made me go, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. But do you still think it's like a fine finale, or?
Oh yeah, I think it was a great finale.
I don't think it's as good as last season's, but
no,
I don't think that takes away from. I mean, I like it. I think it's a good finale. I don't think it's the best episode of the season, but I still think it's very ambitious. Is one way to put it, I guess. What do you think of what do you think of all the negative cop back? Did you see any on Twitter and Reddit like I saw?
Yeah, I didn't see heaps, but I saw a few. But I think it just comes down to what I said earlier. Like the show, the main thing that I get from it, and I think a lot of people get from the show, is watching it and coming up with theories and discussing possible ways the story can go, as opposed to just watching it and taking it in for what it is, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I actually saw someone tweet that they didn't think this season was like fun to theorize about because it was too confusing to theorize about. And of course, I'm reading that going, well, we do a show weekly where we literally do that, so that your tweet's complete nonsense to me. But I found that I don't think this season has been as confusing as people like to shout out. I'm not saying it's very simple, and that there's not. I'm not trying to say that I understand literally everything that's happened and in the finale as well. But I don't think it's as confusing as people find it to be. And even with the finale, and I don't want to bring up stuff until we get to it because just confuse the order of events and stuff. But there's some stuff that happened in the finale where, in the moment, as I'm watching it, I'm a bit like, I'm so confused, but it's just because it's also a 90-minute episode. It wasn't very slow. I felt like it was constantly moving, even though I felt some parts could have been cut or moved. But then when I thought back on them later, I'm like, well, it was kind of necessary, and maybe that was necessary if they want to do something with that in the third season. So then that scene that you feel is not necessary in this moment is probably necessary if we get to that something in the third season to do with that character, all sorts of things. And then there was plot moments where I'm just like, I have no fucking idea what's going on. And then a couple hours after the episode finished, the more I thought about it, I was starting to understand it more, and I suddenly just started Googleizing stuff. And of course, there was already threads on the internet about what I was thinking about, because of course there was. And then I read all those, and it just helped do the thing. But yeah, I reading people just go, at this point, Westworld's as bad as Lost. I'm like, what are you on about? Like, this show...
No, I don't think so at all.
Lost had no idea what it was doing with this plot. And I feel the finale wrapped up a lot more plot threads than Lost ever did. Like, we're off... Some characters are literally off the quote-unquote island.
I saw the perfect fucking quote from the season. It goes, you're a host, you're a host, you're a host. We're in this timeline now. We're in this timeline. Go fuck yourself. Westworld 2018.
The end of the whole story is just going to be everyone was the host.
Yeah,
that's it.
What do you think about how they wrapped it up? Like we both almost turned it off when the credits rolled. Like,
no, I don't think that's scene. When I first watched it, I thought it was more important. When I read an interview of Jonathan Nolan after clarifying some things about it, I was like, okay, it makes more sense why it was put at the end as a bit of a teaser thing, because it's not actually integral. And I feel like it's going to fuck with people a lot more and just confuse them and have them focused on that. And maybe that's the point of it, to have them focused on that than thinking about other elements of the episode. But I don't know. Let's just jump into it. So we start off in what I wrote down as the past. Now, do we want to correct this now? Because we're in the room. Dolores and Bernard are doing the test, right? Mm-hmm. The test. Now, I took, and correct me if I'm wrong or you think different, I took away at the end of the episode that this is actually the future Dolores thing testing Bernard.
I don't know, because did she remake a whole new Bernard?
Yeah, she made... Well, she
steal his fucking brain ball?
She stole his brain ball, is what I took it as. She's got 5 brain balls. Well, maybe not his exact brain ball, but she took the data from the library or whatever, and then put it inside a fresh brain ball or something. You know?
I don't know.
There's ways for it. But my thing is, at the end of the episode, we get the whole pan past their bodies, and it switches them from the view that we'd seen several times in the season, in the clothes they're in, and then when the camera comes out the other side, Bernard's naked, Dolores is in different clothes. Or Dolores Prime, Dolores...
Yeah.
What? You know what? Anyway, so I'm thinking that's the camera reveal is... Hey, this is...
Yeah, I think that's what it's intending to be.
I think that's what's intending to be. I could be completely wrong, but when I'm originally watching the episode, of course, I'm like, this is the past, and the only big information you get out of it is she says it's trial 11,927. So I write that down, and then we move on. But I think it's just they show that at the start, and then by the end, when they do the camera reveal, you're supposed to be like, oh, the whole season, whenever we've seen the whole season, it's been the future timeline. Or maybe one time it was the actual original Dolores working on, I don't know. It's getting fucking confusing at this point, but I mean, that's the program, isn't it?
That's Westworld.
Yeah. So then we get to the present, we get Bernard arriving at the Valley Beyond. I don't know how he knows its exact location, especially since it's like, you know, in the ground now. It's not like a big gaping hole, and which is why Ghost Nation couldn't find it originally. But he's like, it's here. Somewhere it's here. Then we get to Dolores and Teddy with the episode. The episode kind of starts, it's like, here's the thing. All right, let's get into the actual, let's have some stuff happening. So Dolores is still laying with Teddy for a while. She's like, oh, love you and such things. That's cool. Just hug a dead body. I don't know. It's not necrophilia unless you fuck it, I hear. She eventually leaves.
Is it necrophilia because it's not actually a body?
Robotophilia. I don't know. She eventually leaves, though. She crosses the sand dunes. They have a nice shot of those dunes. Like, hey, you remember that episode?
Lots of Sweeping shots.
Lots of sweeping shots that we got used to in the AK episode. And then we see she arrives at a field, and of course it's somehow the exact field that Man in Black is sitting in. But at first I was like, how did she?
It felt too convenient.
It felt very convenient, but then like I can believe the happenstance of her coming across Emily's body, and then maybe just being like, maybe he's around here somewhere, and she purposely went and tracked him down, like followed the horse tracks or something like that. But yeah, if she just happened to come across him in the smack bang in the middle of the field, I would be like, okay. But maybe she comes across Emily's body, then she comes across...
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Emily's body will stand out more because from a distance, you'll see the buggies and stuff.
Yeah.
That will make it easy to see in the distance. So maybe then she rides up, sees Emily's dead body, then she goes and tracks down him. But yeah, at first I was like, arriving at him is just very weird. He is picking at the insides of his arm. Now, they purposely don't...
How long's he been at it?
Well, let's be real. With the way timeline works in Westworld, it's always... the show always makes you believe it's longer than it actually is. Did she
ride up on Emily's body as, like, just as he rode away or something? Because she said I found Emily's body a couple of miles away or something like that. Yeah, well, I suppose she could have. So you're there fucking digging at it for quite a while.
Yeah. Maybe he's trying to do it carefully. Doesn't want to kill himself, but still wants to find his thing. But straight away, I'm thinking this. He's in there deep enough, I feel. The moment we see...
I think he's a bone.
Yeah, like he's in there deep enough to go, not a host.
Yeah.
You know? I'm sold straight away. Like, they don't need to show me a close-up. And as soon as I'm watching this scene, I'm thinking, they're not showing us a close-up purposely to have people still theorizing that he's actually a host or something.
Yeah.
But the moment I see how he's been digging in there that deep, how long he must have been digging around inside his arm there, I'm like, he hasn't found metal yet, or, you know, whatever. He hasn't found wires yet.
He hasn't found a USB slot.
He hasn't found a USB slot. He's not a host. I was sold right there and then. Did you?
Me too.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm like, don't try to fuck. I know this show tries to fuck with me, and sometimes you just gotta stick to what you see and just go with the facts and kind of figure it out yourself. But
not today, Nolan. Not today.
Not today. Yeah, that's right. So Dolores rides up on him. I think that's how you say someone on a horse rides up behind you. And she says, seems you've begun to question the nature of your reality because of digging in them. And then Man in Black says that bunch of stuff. Oh, of course it's you, Dolores, blah, 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 blah. And then they pretty much agree to ride to the Valley Beyond together because they have, for the time being...
She goes, she says, I need a monster to get there or something like that.
Yeah.
And he goes, what is it? Our fucking interests align until then.
Yeah, our interests are aligned till they're not. Blah blah blah. Which is bullshit. Like she didn't need him at all. Like why? Whatever.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like if she really hates him that much, just fucking pop him in the head right there.
She wants him to. Well, I mean, this is where you can come when we get to the end of the episode there.
And then she takes his gun and puts the fucking the bullet in his fucking chamber.
Yeah, what was it? It was like
from Teddy's head. It was the bullet that Teddy shot himself with. Yeah,
so it was just like a blown bullet, which causes the gun to backfire. But at first I was like, it looks like a fucking. I forgot. I didn't even see her pick it up, and I was like, what is she putting in this gun? I missed that completely. What was going on? So they head off towards the Valley Beyond, and we see a shot of Ghost Nation. They're all riding towards the Valley Beyond. Now this
the convoy that they've picked up of about a fucking 1,000
people. Yeah,
I have fucking no idea where they've come from. What happened to all the guests that they'll fucking bring in with them?
It's all the guests that we'd seen them kidnap for whatever purpose. I still don't understand why they bring them with them.
Was it the guests though? I don't think any of them were guests.
Well, surely they still had some tied up guests among the people. Like
I don't think so.
Really?
Because later on when Clementine
they all just go they all go crazy. This is true. It was a bit weird. I don't know. It wasn't, but call back to last week when I was like, oh, that's Maeve, like leading an army of people down there, because that was the only person I could see leading that many people together, I guess. But then, we get into it and it's all Ghost Nation people. I'm like, oh, last week was like, oh, half the people got wiped out by Dolores or whatever. But turns out that was just a scout party or some fucking shit. I don't even know. So they're on their way to the Valley Beyond, and then we see Clementine is like a horse, no, a war hound. I don't know. She's sniffing out.
She's essentially a grenade.
Yeah, well, yeah, she's essentially a live grenade seeking. But it kind of looks like the horse. She's like the horse like leading the hunters.
She looks like one of the riders of the Four Horsemen or something like that.
Yeah, like ridiculous where she's out charging out with her dead zombie eyes and that. And then you've got the humans behind with Charlotte like we'll get to the Valley Beyond. So in the bit, and then we get to the building. Who's left in the facility since everyone's charging off to the Valley Beyond? I feel like the episode starts very much like, here's a quick shot there on their way. Here's a quick shot there on their way. Let's just make sure you all know they're on their way. Look, you don't need to show us all. You don't need to show me everyone walking there. I'm well aware that everyone's fucking on their way there. Yes, I am aware of how it's happening. Yes. So in the building, Maeve is about to be killed, basically. With
a fucking saw or something like that. Can't you like deactivate her or something?
Yeah, they can't just turn her off. Well, I suppose they're just worried that if they don't separate it's like zombies, you know? Yeah. The host must be like zombies.
It just seems very methodical when they can just get one of the fucking guards come in and just put a ball in her head or something.
Maybe they want to still do research on her. You know, like this is once again me pulling for trying to fill in their plot details, but
maybe it's just the doctor's sadistic.
Well, I don't like that doctor, so I'm glad when he dies in a second too, because he was a creepily fucking dude. So, so Maeve using her newfound forward kiss powers awakens all the dead hosts that are around her in the room. Which once again, I'm still like, why are there so many dead hosts lying around here on the floor? They surely they're all, moved out to a separate area or something. They're just like laying around everywhere. They're just not very OH&S safety is what I feel. They all come up, grab the saw blade, I don't know what you want to call it, off old Dr. Mate, kill him, and then they magically learn how to do surgery and begin work on Maeve's neck to do it.
Laser her up
somewhat, because that's what you got to do. And then we go to an outside shot, and Hector and his people are all moving through the facility.
We're going to save Maeve.
Yeah, we're going to save Maeve and be the big heroes, and she'll love me forever, because then I will go save the daughter, and I love her, and it's great. And my ex is here, but she's along. So Hector, they come across Sizemore, who's in the corridor. He's actually... Sizemore... I mean, we'll get to Sizemore in a little bit, but I find I find if you believe his turn this season, it's like 50-50 on if it works for you, I feel.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
It doesn't fully work for me, but at the same time, I'm not fully against it. It's the kind of character turn where I'm like, you were this close to having me fully on board with believing. You needed to have an extra episode of him turning, or build up to it slower so I could believe it, because of course it came so fast. Last episode or the episode before? It was like last episode when he says his goodbyes to Maeve and says sorry and all this sort of stuff, and it just came very like this. They just needed more moments of him actually feeling sorry the whole time.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you could have believed it more if instead of having him call in the people to come pick them up when Maeve gets shot when she's dealing with Man in Black, you just have people randomly come in. Like they're scouting around the park or something. They happen to see Maeve. They happen to see Sizemore. They go, that's the head narrative guy. We'll go in and save him. And then when they come in, they start shooting Maeve. They have a shot of Sizemore being like, no, you can't. Because then you're like, oh, okay, he feels
I think that works better now that you've described it like that.
Yeah. Hire the HBO.
I guess the way that they did it kind of like just I don't know, sells his Weasley nature, I guess. But
We already
revealing
knew
him
he
as
was a weasel, though.
Weasley doesn't just negatively impacts his change of heart.
Yeah,
Like you don't fully you're not fully on board with it.
we had a season of knowing he's a Weasley dickhead.
Yeah.
And I didn't like him, like, as a character. Well, as someone in the show to watch, he was fun in season 1, of course. But, like, as a character and as a person, I didn't like him because he was a dick.
Yeah.
So I had a full season of that. I didn't need them in this season to keep going, just so you know, like, he's a bit of a dickhead. He's only out for himself. I'm well aware of that. You could have spent more time doing the slow turn or some elements to have his storyline pay off a lot differently. But yeah, he's sitting in the corner upset. Hector finds him, of course, puts his gun to his head straight away because he knows or assumes that he has something to do with it, I guess. And then they're about to charge into the facility to do their mission to save Maeve when you can hear bulls. You can hear screams from inside. Yeah. There's about 5 dudes standing outside going, "What the fuck is going on?" with their guns pointing at the door. And then we get this slow motion epic bull scene, which is these bulls charge out of the facility. They're not completely built ones. They're just, she's like obviously brought them to life like anything else, and they just mow down all 5 of the dudes. And she has a very music video slow motion shot where she kind of walks out.
All cool
and stuff like that. Yeah, what do you think of this?
I thought the imagery was fine. Like it's still just my issue with Maeve and her powers that I just can't get around.
Yeah. I mean, the powers...
And I think they try to make her, when she uses her powers, look like they try to make a conscious effort of making her look cool while doing it as well. Well, which kind of just, I don't know.
They make her look cool, and they do a big thing. Like, she has the line in a second. Well, of course, all the bulls kill everyone. I wrote down the line of Sizemore just being like, bloody hell. Like,
no. Because one of the guys shoots the other guy as well.
Then, it's bloody. And then she says, "You were both a bit late, so I went ahead and saved myself."
Yeah.
So they have the slow motion cool shot. They have her say that line very much like, "Fuck you, I'm not the damsel in distress. Maeve's a badass who can save herself." Is the point of it, I guess.
I guess you could convey that a bit better than the superhero shots, I guess. It just feels like it doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Well, that's I feel like it works at times. I feel like it doesn't work at times, but I understand what they were going for, I guess. Then we go back to Dolores riding along on the horse, and this is where Man in Black says the whole thing about we're friends until our alliance converges and stuff. And then he's asking what she wants, and she says that she doesn't.
Oh, is that now? I thought it was.
Yeah, it's like they have all this in between. And then she says a line about how she doesn't want a path to your world. We want our own world, says Dolores. Which this line at the time, and then when they get further, and then she says "fuck you" to Eden, and then she wants to get to the real world, makes me think Dolores as a character basically wants to kill all humans.
Yeah.
Like, wipe them out, genocide, and take over the earth, basically.
That's how I read it.
Yeah. Because at first, you can take the line as we want our own world, and then as they're leading up to the whole Eden thing later, you're like, oh, she's going to get what she wants. Yeah. Like, it's a whole world. But no, she wants Earth, or like whatever the outside world of Westworld looks like. She wants the human world, wants to wipe that free and have it be hers, I guess. But yeah. Dolores is very much
it's a plot of the Matrix.
Yeah, Dolores is very much the bad guy, I feel, going into season 3. But there's definitely one line that definitely a line that she says that basically just sets it up, which I thought was cool. So Bernard arrives at the facility as humans are rocking up, which I'm like, where the fuck did these guys come from? Because Charlotte's still a whiles away, with Clementine leading the ways, and then all of a sudden these 2 buggies rock up as Bernard's arriving, and they're just apparently on the patrol.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, we're going to the facility. You're not meant to be here."
Yeah, but I don't think they know about the facility because it's very top secret.
No, either.
and all that sort of stuff. And then if they were so far ahead, when did they get there? Why isn't Charlotte? It was just odd. That was one thing.
Exactly. Like in my mind, they've sent out the word to all the fucking communication going, hey, all QA or whatever converge on this point or something, or all fucking rendezvous here and we'll go and get this thing.
But wouldn't it be everyone converge and then wait for me to arrive?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't done special forces training or anything, but you know,
yeah.
Like surely it's...
Is this the whole fucking season and they're
hopeless with their
soldiers?
Yeah, their soldiers and the Delos army or whatever you want to call them are absolutely fucking hopeless. So they all arrive and then of course Man in Black and Dolores come in, shoot them all dead.
Yeah.
And then Man in Black, I thought this was cool because it wasn't something I'd actually realized up until this point, because Man in Black says, who the hell is this? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. They've never met. They've never met. Don't know who the fuck each other are, which I suppose you're watching a show for 2 seasons and you're in the season 5, the second season, and you're looking at like basically your 3 main characters, I guess.
Yeah.
Or 3 or 4 main characters, and one of them says they've met each other, and you're like,
yeah,
oh yeah, that's right.
It's kind of like the Game of Thrones thing.
Yeah. But I suppose you're more obvious of it.
Yeah, you're more aware of it. Yeah.
More aware of it because everyone just talks about how everyone's off their own storylines, and you know, Game of Thrones social media or talk is always like, who's your favorite character? And you're very much aware that everyone's off on their own.
Yeah.
Like you know, Danny hasn't met so-and-so, et cetera, et cetera. Dolores tells the story about how she created Bernard, which we already knew, but I saw people online going, oh, they confirmed that she was the one who did it. And I'm like, no, wait, do we already know all this? She's just saying it out loud, basically what they 90%.
I think the other episode implies that Ford
had a bigger hand in it.
Yeah, like it tasked her to create it, or like made him and got her to refine it or something, where this one flat out says that it was all her on her own, I guess.
Yeah, but it was still Ford.
Yeah, I guess Ford still had a hand in
it, but he's not there overseeing it, I guess. But like that doesn't make a big difference to me if he's there watching in the background or not. Like,
I think it's just people not paying attention.
Yeah, I know, it was weird. She calls him a creation too faithful.
Yep.
Which it's kind of like the whole separation thing, I suppose, that we've had Ford talk about before, how they had kept Dolores and Bernard apart because she would just recognize that he was Arnold, I guess.
Yeah.
And then very evilly, she's like, it's fitting that we're here to the end together. Like, so many diabolical, like, we're here together at the end. And of course, as she's walked up to Bernard, she's right in his face saying all this. And then behind, Man in Black pulls out a gun, starts shooting Dolores, shoots her several times as she does a whole Terminator walk towards him.
Now, this is all, we go on.
As she walks the whole distance, which would be, my guess, 5 meters or so. You know, she takes like 3-4 shots, I think. Shoulder, body, something like that. And then when he gets right up in her face, he puts the gun to her head, pulls the trigger. It's the last bullet in the revolver, backfires, blows what appears to be like 3 or 4 of his fingers off, or like his whole hand.
2 or 3 fingers,
Yeah, I don't know. It was confusing, but blows off basically his trigger finger section of his hand, and then he goes flying backwards, which in a gory fashion.
Now, this is a pretty fucking stupid move. Like, why would she not do it to the first bullet in the chamber? Like, she obviously anticipated him shooting her. She had no way of knowing that he wouldn't have fucking shot her in the head.
Yeah. That's, I mean, did she quickly do it? I haven't gone back and looked. Did she quickly do it, just chuck it in wherever and then like spin it around, or did she?
You don't see her, like, you see her with it and the gun, so you think that, like, it obviously implies that she does it, but you don't actually get you don't actually see the action of her actually doing it.
Yeah. I know, it is weird. And I didn't think about that. All I was thinking the whole time watching it was, is he aiming for the head and missing? Or is he a shot?
I don't think he's that bad of a shot, especially at that range.
Yeah.
when there's fucking scenes in last season and this season where he's fucking picking guys off at distances and stuff.
Yeah, so he's just purposely not shooting in the head, or he's still so out of it that he's not.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're pulling it, but yeah, it was weird. I'm like, this is plot armor happening.
Yeah.
You know, of course, because any other character, like you say, like he would just shoot them in the head from a distance further. He's a lot better shot. And the reason that she doesn't get shot in the head straight away is simply plot armor.
Even if it was his aim was off or whatever, like it's still a big fucking risk that a bullet could go there.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly
it's very
because she. What is it?
A dramatic effect.
How many rounds we're saying? Like that's 6.
I think he fired 4.
So we're saying there's 5 bullets in the.
No, I think that particular one has 8 or 9 chambers.
Okay, so it just wasn't full, but yeah. So he gets through everything, and then it was odd. It was odd. It was very much plot armor kind of stuff happening, or plot armor to have something that looks cool happen, I guess, because she gets to do this whole Terminator walk across, and then she just leaves him on the ground as he's screaming, "Ah, my fucking arm!"
9 shot capacity.
9 shots. So there was like it was half empty basically. Plenty of room to figure out which bullet's gonna be shot first. There's no room for error when you when it's not full, really, is there?
Exactly.
No, that's silly. So so the Dolores turns, grabs Bernard, and says, "Come with me. We'll go down there." Bernard looks like a lost puppy dog, I feel like, in this whole scene, especially when he gets into the elevator, because he's like, up here with Dolores. And, okay, like he just lost his fucking arm, but all right. This is another thing. I saw people online being like, the reason the Man in Black could take so many shots and all this sort of stuff all season is because he's a host and all this sort of stuff. Like if you're a host and you get that part of your fingers and stuff blown off, I feel like at that point you see something, surely.
Yeah, I agree.
You see mechanicals in the part that was blown off or the part that's remaining on the hand, something.
I suppose we don't get a fucking... I don't think we get a good look at it because we see it get blown off, and then the next time we see him, he's on the ground and he's holding it.
They show it for 1 second. Like I'm sure someone on Reddit would have freeze framed that shit by now and been like, "Look, there's wires or USBs."
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I haven't seen anything on Reddit like that yet.
Yet. It's only been a couple of days. Oh, that's enough time for Reddit.
We'll do a special episode when that thread comes up.
So we get to the future. This is where they start, the future time. They start doing a lot of back forth here, which I liked how it was. I thought it was edited together like well, and it works to explain Bernard's constant in and out of his consciousness. Because that's the whole thing for this season. They try to explain, why are we going backwards and forwards in timeline? Is it supposed to be Bernard constantly in and out of where he is?
Yeah, was it the leaking brain juice? Did he upload the data to his own brain? Whatever. Yeah.
So they do tie the reason we're jumping backwards and forward into a character reason, I guess. It's because the character we're following this season is Bernard, is the main character, I guess, and that's who we're seeing stuff from his point of view, basically. And they lead it up to a really good point here, of course, where he starts seeing the overlapping elements, which we've kind of seen once before, of stuff from a different timeline leaking into this timeline and so forth, which I thought was cool. But we get to the future, and then we hear that the leader dude, which I never write down his name because fuck him, and it doesn't matter, he's not back for season 3, saying his brain needs to hold together until we get Abernathy's control unit, and they all get on boats and they head across to the valley beyond. And then Charlotte's yelling at him, "Why are the hosts coming here? Bernard, blah, blah, blah," all sorts of stuff, which at the time you're like, what do you mean, why are the hosts coming here? And then when you go back to the other timeline and Charlotte's like going there, I was getting very weirded out at the time. I'm like, why is she asking why are the hosts coming here if we know that she's about to arrive there?
Yeah. And
she's going to be a part of the whole event, which I suppose when we get the big reveal later, it just makes more sense that she's just playing along for everyone else that's around her. Because when we of course find out that it's Dolores, no one she wouldn't have told anyone else that she was there originally, you know, I suppose
Yeah.
is the thing. She could have been, no, I was never there.
Yeah.
Never there. The other random couple soldiers that were with her could have easily killed them.
Yeah,
know?
that's right. No, no, plausible deniability, like you said, like she can easily say that she doesn't know what happened or anything like that.
Yeah, but in episode, I'm very confused for a lot of this episode going, why does she keep acting like she's not fucking there?
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes sense when we get the reveal.
Yeah, I didn't
later.
even think of that. I didn't even think about that at the time, but now you bring it up. Watching it, not knowing what we know now, it would be very confusing.
Yeah. It's just, I was like, plot at this stage I'm watching an episode freaking out like this bad writing or something. Like, why is she saying why the host's coming here? It's just I'm getting anxious. I'm like, they're going the fuck something on. What's going on? So they all get into the elevator and they head down, and then we cross over to the present timeline, I guess, or however you want to quote it. So Dolores and Bernard walk to the facility. It's a very red, futuristic looking thing. I don't really know what to.
Red LED lighting.
Yeah, it's LED lighting everywhere. There's water
RGB.
because I suppose the water is because the
Cooling, I think.
Yeah, cooling. That's what I explained it off as well. Because my first reaction is, why the fuck is there water here? And then I'm like, oh, well, the data they're trying to store is probably a huge fucking
Massive
system.
server farm thing,
Absolutely massive server farm, and the water is simply cooling. And then I was like, okay, that makes sense. Let's continue. But Bernard starts seeing himself entering the facility as he turns around as they're entering it. He sees his future self entering the facility, which is interesting that his brain could be like cross. I don't know how that works, but that's it's interesting nonetheless. I don't know if that comes back in season 3, if they're going to do any weird timeline stuff with that, because that's when you can, if they really want to fuck around with timelines and do another back forth timeline thing in season 3, when you have hosts or characters who can start seeing their future characters, including themselves, then you can do weird sorts of stuff, which they didn't do much with him this season, luckily. So Dolores or Bernard says there's 4 million souls stored here, which is a lot. So that's the whole park plus the guests, well, the guests and hosts is what it's not just the guests. It is hosts as well.
I think they say it's all the guests that have come here, and they say 4 million whatever.
Well, it's probably 4 million of them, but from what I could figure out, because we see, when we go into the facility, we see Dolores and all those other people in the world, that I took it as this. It's all the guests, plus there must be a version of Dolores stored in there. There must be a version of Ed stored in there, etc., 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 etc. Or else how they running around. It's like there is a version of, or a base version of all these characters we know in there, which is why when we get further to like how does she get Bernard back in the future, down the line, I just took it as she stole the data out of that system and copied a Bernard into a brain, and copied someone else into a brain, copied someone else into a brain. Who those other characters are, we can theorize. I was going to say, try and guess who they are later. So we cross back into the future timeline. The future Bernard, this is where it gets very confusing. Future Bernard and Charlotte arrive in the facility. They see Dolores is dead on the floor. Well, I was watching it, I'm like, fuck, how are they going to explain this? I'm like, how are they getting out of this? It's so all over the place at this point. It's ridiculous. Then they just start screaming once again, where is Abernathy's control unit, still prodding Bernard, and to the point where they're giving up being nice about it. They're just straight up kicking Bernard, which I thought was rude. They're just like getting angry about it.
20 years of out of sync or something, memories in there. Hey, how long is it going to take you to go through it? He goes, I don't know, fucking 20 years.
Yeah. Which it's like, good job, way out, actor, dude, delivery. Then we go back to the present timeline, Dolores. She explains that there's an entry to another land here, but she isn't interested in it. So this is the first counter argument to what she said before about wanting her own land that you can pick up. Bernard asks what she's interested in, and she says mankind's undoing. So she's just straight away the evil mistress. Dolores and Bernard enter the system with a much less painful system to how Bernard entered the Ark or Dark or whatever the fuck the original thing he entered was. the Forge,
the Cradle.
the Cradle. There we go. There's too many fucking names. Yeah, compared to him having to take his whole fucking brain out and put it into the system there. This one's seems
This
a lot
is
less
wireless.
This is wireless system, yeah. this one's a lot better. So they enter, and when they enter the new system, it appears they enter in like Delos's holding facility, or so, like in a room like that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is what they walk into originally. And when they walk out there in the main
Fidelity room.
Yeah. Fidelity room. Yeah, I suppose that's what you call it. They walk out there in the main Westworld town, which is Shearwater, or I think it's Shearwater.
Sweetwater.
Sweetwater, there we go. So they walk out there in Sweetwater. Dolores spots herself walking by. You know, proper season 1 Dolores, blue dress, off to buy her fucking beans for her dad and that sort of shit. That's probably happening. Yeah. And then they walk into the bar. They spot Clementine, who's talking to Delos.
Yeah.
Bernard
was
explains...
being the mistress at the time.
Yes. Very...
Which is pertinent to a theory.
Is it?
Yes.
What's the theory?
That they bring Maeve back from her copy of whatever in the cradle, like her being with her daughter.
Oh, the other version. Like
Yeah.
original... Yeah, okay. So Bernard explains that this is probably the baseline. What Delos probably did in the park is what they're seeing.
Yeah,
like
this is
different-
they're running him through.
They're running him through the exact same stuff. Over and over. Because they walk outside the other end of the door and they find Delos just lining up and shooting people.
Yeah,
in like 50
Sociopath.
people. Just very much sociopath. Dolores, as insane as she is, says he's insane. As soon as she said that line, I'm like, you can fucking talk. But then Bernard has a nice line about, you know, what is sane. I didn't quite catch it in time to write it down in my notes, but Bernard had a nice line where he basically said, well, what is sane humans? What do humans define as sane? What do you define as sane?
It's like it's a very small margin.
Yeah. Which the whole episode and their whole back and forth about what's sane, what's insane, blah 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 blah. There was in the interview I read after the episode, I think it was Variety or something. I can't even fucking remember. But that good one with Jonathan Nolan where they asked, "Is this your point of view on humanity?" And he started his answer with basically playing along and being like, "Yeah, fuck everyone," blah, blah, blah. And then the interviewer was like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "No, I'm just joking." He's like, "Some of it I believe," but he's like, "I don't believe it's that point of view." Yeah, which I thought was pretty funny. So Bernard asked what they're exactly looking for. Dolores says they're looking for something beneath the whole thing, the system itself. And they begin walking, and then
so what makes you think we can even access it or anything like that?
Yeah, and
then
then
keep on walking.
yeah, just walking along, looking her all out for it, and then all of a sudden day shifts to night, and Dolores is basically like, "Well, I think the system wants to find us. You'll find." And they walk into the house, which at first I thought it was the house that Arnold built.
I think it was.
Well, the outside was the house.
Yeah.
But then when we get inside, it's very different, obviously. So, but yeah, from the outside, it's Arnold's house that he built. They built for his family inside the park. And then when they actually walk inside, and they walk out the other end, it's Delos's house from the real world.
It's his retirement party.
And it's his retirement party that we saw once before with William being there and
and
Delos.
because Laura says I've been here before.
Because she was there.
She was playing the piano.
Yeah, she's playing the piano and stuff. So, then we get Logan who walks up and he says,
"No, they walk down to the railing thing and Logan's there."
Oh, he's sitting on his
deck chair,
which in the real life version he was.
Yeah,
I feel. And then he says something to him, and Dolores says, "You're not supposed to be here," because she points out that Delos couldn't have made a copy of Logan because he never re-entered the park
after that time.
After his original time there, which is when they began copying the guests and stuff like that. To which he explains that he is a version made up from his father's memories from the past. Incomplete, not an actual copy of Logan, but what his father
what the system
deems Logan to be.
Yeah.
Or what Delos thought his son was, or something along.
It's also an avatar for the system to interact with.
Yeah, so it's it's basically the administrator program. I guess, of the system that takes place, that takes the form of Logan.
Because I saw a lot of things like people discussing like, why is Logan there? Carrying it on is like, I mean, I didn't think it was that much of a stretch to just say that this is the interface,
Yeah,
like the system interfacing with them.
Yeah, that's all I took it as. It's just simply the
And it was another reason not to pay another actor.
Yeah, and it was cool that it's pay another actor, and you get to bring back an actor that they've had before, an actor that people like, and you get to have the cool scene later in a bit with Logan anyway. So it's nice to have the robot one standing behind, I guess, or whatever. But yeah, I didn't think there was any written.
I didn't think it was. It didn't ruin anything, or
it was simply an avatar. It's just an avatar for the program. They're not in a building. People forget Bernard and Delos literally walked up to Wi-Fi machines and hooked their brains up into a computer system. Like it's simply the form of it's avatar form of the administrative program.
It's basically, remember old Microsoft Word and that little paperclip?
Yes.
Here's the paperclip.
How may I help you?
Yeah.
And you can change the paperclip to other things in future versions of Word. So this is just the Logan version of the paperclip.
Jonathan Nolan didn't think a paperclip would work here.
Different version of the show. It's just the paperclip fucking floating. Hey, how may I help you? So Logan explains his made of fire, his marriage, blah, blah, blah. Then he goes on about how there were 18 million different versions of Delos made, running through the facility, trying them all different ways, etc., etc., etc. And then Delos is seen, I presume this is from one of his memories or something like that. So he's seen sitting in a room and they ask him what his primary drive is. And he responds that his primary drive is his son.
Yeah.
And says, a cheeky cunt, but I'd do anything for him.
Yeah.
So that's the most humane moment we really get of Delos, I guess. And the deep look into him as a person when they actually ask him what his primary drive is.
Yeah, and it jumps off something that comes up later, and he says like, "Oh, humans are not as complex as you think. They think they have choice or something, but they're just an algorithm doing the same thing over and over again."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then we walk up, and then PC Logan, whatever we want to call him, administrative Paperclip Logan says that we're about to witness the moment that defines James Delos as James Delos's life, is what he says. And then we see a scene where Logan's laying outside on a deck chair by the pool at Delos's house. Some point after the retirement party and stuff, I'd presume. Delos walks up and says, "What the fuck are you doing here? You don't live here anymore."
Yeah.
And proceeds to rant on about how his son's a junkie, blah, 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 got to get clean. Logan says he got clean before. And then he's like, well, you just got straight back on it. And Logan's like, well...
I got clean last time. What did you say? He goes, it'll never last.
Yeah, and it didn't. So Delos then walks away from his son, tells him to leave. And then Paperclip Logan says that is the last time Delos saw his son.
Before he goes... It's something along the lines of "Help me, Dad." I'm all the way down now. I can see the bottom, which is also when earlier in the season when Delos is in, like host Delos is in the thing cutting up his face. He goes, "I'm all the way down now." So,
is that a Reddit help?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Reddit.
Well, it goes towards the defining thing of him.
Yeah, like his defining moment. That's why. Yeah, that's why he says it then. That makes sense. So then he says that's the last time he saw his son. 6 months later, Logan OD'd.
Which completely contradicts what Delos thinks his whole reason is. Because he goes, my son, I'd do anything for him, where he did literally just gaslighted his son and turned him down and pretty much made him kill himself. Yeah,
which is, I suppose it's supposed to be saying something about like the human condition. Or
it's something. Like this is what you think you are, but what you actually are is not what you
something
think you
completely different. Yeah, that we can we can lie to ourselves so deeply that that's how bad. So then we know Logan dies. So we know Logan dies probably 6 months, right? So Delos is out at this point. He's not in the at some stage, the real Delos we know would walk into that facility, I guess.
Yeah.
The holding room, and that's why he thinks he's the real one the entire time, because they need the real one to enter that room, and then the real one probably dies in the room, is my understanding of how it probably all works, or something like that. But
the way I read it is like he walked into a room, and I guess that's like the last recording of him they have, I guess.
Yeah,
and then he dies at home or whatever somewhere.
Yeah, something like that makes sense. But it's like, do you want to put Logan dying while he's in the facility or something? Because of course we know that he doesn't know his son dies.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. Because William tells him his son died, etc., etc.
I suppose he dies after they made the final copy of him or something.
Yeah. So timeline wise, I don't know. It's not really important, but you just try and piece it together, I suppose. Logan Paperclip points out, this is where he says that, humans are really simple creatures, and when they were trying to break them down and copy them or whatever they were trying to do, they were overdoing it, trying to make it a lot more complicated and convoluted than that was actually necessary for the process. And then they walk up to, now this is the part, like, I actually like this part, and I saw people saying it was too on the nose or too silly, the whole library thing and the book thing, because they walk up to a book and it's being written with a pen magically, and it's just in a room by itself, and it's a very stylized sequence, I guess. Yeah, it's a laser, and they walk up to it and they pick up the book, and it just says James Delos on the side, and the book just represents everything that Delos was.
Yeah, he goes, we boiled down what a human was. It's like 1,024 lines of code or something.
Yeah, and that's it, the book.
Yeah.
Which just, that proving point that they were trying to overdo it. They're trying to make this huge, very complicated code, blah, 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 blah. That's really just that. Which the way it's written down is sheet music. Like the pianos that play automatically. That's what those sheets are. Yeah.
Which goes back to Ford saying earlier something about Beethoven and Mozart or something, that their lives are just basically devolved down to music or something like that.
Which, makes sense, I guess. Ties it all back. Have they been... I always wonder sometimes with shows like this, you gotta wonder, like, how much... Like, I don't expect them to plan season 1 to 5 out fully, but I do appreciate it if you can... Even if it's happenstance or they just manage to link stuff back from original seasons and stuff. Then we get back to Maeve and the crew. They're on the way to the Valley Beyond. Jeep rides up behind them, magically out of fucking somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, surely you would have got way more distance before them. Or just fucking turn around. Or something, start shooting behind you. I don't know. Like, like
why ride horses at all when they got all those Jeeps in the fucking parking garage?
I don't know. They don't know how to use Jeeps, I guess.
But Lee would, and the other two fucking guys would.
That's true, I guess. But they don't trust him, maybe. Maeve sticks to what she knows. So they charge off. Then we get back to Logan Paperclip. Says that he's recreated every single guest who was in the park. And we walk past a man in black who's sitting in the facility. So this is, of course, important when we get to the after credit sequence, because there's a man in black right there who looks like the man in black you fucking know.
Yeah.
But it's not the man in black that we know outside. Just everyone remember, we're watching a TV show where literally everyone who has been in the park is and can be a host now. This is the world we're living in because they copied all their fucking data. Like, when people stuff like, oh, so everyone's just a host now, and they're saying it as a negative, like it's shitty plotting, but it's literally everyone who has been in the park can be a host, and that's just part of the plot now because they've copied everyone's data. So Man in Black can be a guest host. Everyone else can be a fucking host. Doesn't matter. Then Bernard asks, like, why are you helping Dolores so much, basically? Like, why are you helping us? Why are you just leading us freaky this place? Yeah. Being the best guest leader, the person there, best paperclip there was since Microsoft Word 98. Then he says, I've been instructed to give her whatever she needs, says Mr. Paperclip. And he kind of says, well, by who? Bernard asks. Yeah. And he says, by Ford. Oh, no, by you.
No, by you.
By you, sorry. By you. Which I don't understand. This is one of the parts of the show that I don't understand.
Like, I don't know. Like, even if he goes there, like, in the past, knowing maybe his mind's going to be wiped in the future. Like, go, hey, when I come here and I have absolutely no fucking idea what's going on, explain to me everything that I've just fucking asked you to do.
Yeah, but even one of the problems I had was, does he actually mean Bernard or does he mean Arnold or something?
I don't think Arnold wasn't in the picture then.
I guess, but like,
All this was after.
yeah, that's true.
Arnold died way before.
Yeah, that's true. So it's definitely Bernard.
Yeah,
but why does Bernard come there?
I have no idea.
Ford must have sent him, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah.
So then Ford sends Bernard to the facility to tell the facility administrative person that one day, whenever we come here with Dolores, just do whatever she wants. And then he leaves the facility, goes back to Ford, and then gets his mind wiped and continues on with his...
it's one of the lingering questions that I didn't explain.
Yeah, this is... It's up the top of my... I was very confused about.
It seems to not make sense.
It doesn't make much sense to me, no, either. So, yeah, they enter a library.
Yep.
This is once again very. I appreciate how stylized their representation of the human thing is.
Yeah.
Like, especially in a show where so far this season we've had several times they've walked into just server rooms. You know, they've done that. They've done the very server room looking stuff. So to have this library, and I think it works as a nice metaphor. And I like how they boil it down and saying this is all humans are. Actually, it's just literally everyone written on the books here. And we'll get to a thing that you posted in our Discord, explosionnetwork.com/Discord before, which was kind of cool and just sets up the plot. Like,
there's also another thing there that I didn't post that I wanted to save.
Oh, really? So they assumably every book is a host. I mean a guest. So I like how some are thicker than others.
Big enough to have 4 million in there.
Well, I suppose you say that, but then it's like sometimes you look at a shelf full of DVDs and I could be like, well, there's like 500 there, and you'd be like, looks like 200.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'm not gonna. I can buy.
I think we need to freeze frame and count every
book. Yeah, someone do that out there for it. They'll help us out many times. You've been here many times, Bernard says, Paperclip Man.
Yeah.
So he has been here many times, not just once.
Yeah.
Several times, which, once again, just adds to the...
Which is also kind of odd, because you imagine when it's in full function that there's people there working, like the Delos host-making center, and all the people there going, if he wasn't allowed where Delos was being made, like, why would Bernard be able to freely come and go many times?
I don't know, that's why it's standing out as one of my biggest plot things left over from the season. So I can't remember the exact moment. I don't know where you want to bring it in. I can't remember if it was right here or later, so let's just talk about it now. They do have the scene where Dolores pulls out a book, and as you do it, you can see the one that she's... Well, no, she doesn't pull out the one that says Charlotte, or she pulls out the one next to it or something like that. How's it?
Oh, it's a couple of books down, it says Charlotte.
Okay, so she just pulls out one random one. Now, what's the other thing related?
Oh, there was a Charlotte thing. I didn't think I'd posted that.
Oh, it was a Charlotte thing? Yeah.
There was something else. Maybe it was something else that I didn't post. A couple of books after that, there's a book with a sequence of numbers, which is an IP address. And if you go to the website, it goes to a Delos website that's like password locked, and it's all like Delos symbology and stuff like that on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. The show's like... I like how they chuck in these.
Yeah, there it is. So there's the book she pulls out, which is Carl Strand.
Yeah.
Next couple down is Charlotte Hale, and the next couple down is got no title but the IP address.
That's weird. Why would it have an IP address though? Like,
for this particular little...
I suppose it's just for the Easter egg, but I mean, like in show reasons, it doesn't really make sense not to have it.
Yeah.
Fucking name. So Ghost Nation arrive at the valley, or at the top of the cliffside, or whatever you want to call it, overlooking the valley, basically. They don't know they're there yet. Just yet. They're freaking out. They have the whole... You told us we get there.
All the books have an IP address on them. So there's the name, and then underneath there's like a sequence of numbers.
We just boiled down to IP addresses. There you go. The Ghost Nation arrives, they're overlooking it, but they don't think they're actually there yet because they can't see the entrance, I guess. Or they're behind it, I took it as, because they don't see the elevator entrance, and then when Charlotte arrives, they come from the different direction of Ghost Nation, is how I took it. So they're all overlooking the valley.
the way I interpreted it was that where Bernard and all that go in is like on another section away from where they are.
Yeah. Well, if you imagine smack bang in the middle of the valley, there's the elevator entrance. The door only faces, let's say, north, if you're looking that way. And then the other three directions aren't going to see the entrance.
No,
so
not at all.
Ghost Nation rocks up.
The elevator entrance is like camouflage too.
Yeah. So it's like, unless you know what you're looking for, unless you arrive at the exact right angle, you're not going to be able to find your way in, I guess, is the thing. So Maeve and her crew have now had to pull over to take cover to battle these two jeeps of people, which I'm still like, why can they not just fucking like Hector previously would basically just charge through, kill people very easy, but all of a sudden these four dudes
they finally learned to start taking cover.
Yeah. So, as the show progresses, Delos's army of security guards and whatever else slowly become a little bit smarter. Slowly. So Hector stands up and he gives a, Maeve, you go, I'll take him, I'll do it. And he begins to start giving this speech. Or he gets like a sentence in, I guess. And then Sizemore pulls him away, takes him back down and tells him to go. Maeve will need your help. You go with her. I'll do it. And then he says, it's my fucking speech anyway, which, I thought that was a cool line because he literally wrote, cool. He literally did write the speech. So, and this is his big moment. He finally gets to actually say the stuff, perform his actual writing.
It's also, I was reading that this speech had been teased throughout the whole season. This is the first time we actually get to hear it in full.
It might have been because I know they talked about certain stuff previous episodes, but I couldn't remember enough if it would be this, but that would make sense, I guess. So Sizemore starts walking out, continuing the speech as Maeve and the crew run off. He gets shot in the shoulder at one point and has to take cover for a couple seconds, takes a big breather, and then where
the guards are literally saying, "Sir, we're not after you.
We're not after you. We don't shoot you.
Put your gun down."
Yeah. But he's, well, I mean, he's purposely sacrificed himself. There's no argument about it.
Yeah, but why though?
Well, I suppose,
does he want to die?
No, I don't think he wants to die. I feel
like he gives him an extra fucking 15 seconds to get away. Where if he goes out there and fucking ties him up by fucking holding him up, going, "Oh, I can cut you off. I know where they're going," and lead them in a different direction or something like that. It just,
I suppose.
I saw the perfect quote about Lee. He died like he lived, a melodramatic idiot.
That's well, you can't argue the point. So yeah, I mean, look, here's the other thing. When he gets shot, presumably dead, it sounds to me like some sort of automatic gun or semi-automatic gun that goes off and starts shooting him. But it cuts away as soon as you see him get shot, like in the shot on his left side at some point. Now I want him to be dead simply because I want characters to die. I want there to be stakes.
I can't bring him back.
I don't want them to. All I'm saying is I'm just putting it out there on the record now. So if for some fucking reason they try and say that he survived and he comes back next season and he's barely survived after getting shot several times because the security guards didn't actually want to kill him and they just shot him several times in the shoulder to take him down or some shit. I don't want him back. I'm just putting it out there so you're aware that that's something that could happen.
Yeah, like there's a handful of characters I want to wrap up at the end that I don't want to come back.
Yeah, I don't want him to come back, but
this show seems to have an issue with actually killing people off.
Yeah, well, yeah, to a point. I mean, the Ford thing is different. I feel.
Yeah,
there's certain ways you can get away with stuff, but yeah, I'd agree. They just kill people, just fucking kill people and get them done. So Logan back in the library, Paperclip Logan's explaining about Eden, this virtual paradise that's been left set up by
they'll never be able to access.
They'll never be able to access. I took it as Bernard set this up without knowing. I don't really know.
That's how I took it.
Yeah, so Bernard in his sleepy days there had set up this virtual Eden for him, which by which would be then by Ford, I guess, was the instructions to set up the Eden. I guess I don't know. It's very anyway. We've talked enough about how that whole plot point's really fucking confusing. So outside we see the facility. This ripple effect opens when they click. He turns on the Eden.
Tear in the space-time continuum.
Tear in the space-time continuum. I mean, it is ridiculous. It's very sci-fi. I kind of like it though.
I like the imagery of it. I don't understand how it works.
I don't understand. Well, there's a satellite and thing. I mean, all right. So here's the thing. Here's what it is. It's a satellite beaming down an image, right? Humans could not enter Eden because what we see later is when they enter it, their body walks over because that's their data.
Humans can't even see it.
Or the humans can't even see it. We do see later.
I understand how it works. Like it's kind of like they pass through it to upload their consciousness to the Windows XP wallpaper.
Yeah, basically. And I feel like a lot of it. I feel like a lot of the choices made, like the visual style of it, having it be this tear in reality type thing, is kind of just done for the show's sake.
Yeah,
because you could have them.
I get they need to visually represent it.
Yeah.
In a way.
And
that way looks incredibly cool. It does. The only issue I have with is like, I don't know. Like it, like it goes back to the thing. Is it a dome where it's like projecting an image just to them?
Well, if it's a dome, then yeah, sure. Like if there's a dome over Westworld, it's changing the weather.
They just seem to. It just seems to be a glaring omission where they seem to, in a way, describe their own, like, they have an in-universe explanation for how their tech works.
Yeah, and they give themselves 2 years to write the next season and read everyone's complaints and have a throwaway line to fix every single one of them. Which I wouldn't be surprised if that's what actually happens. Or, you know what they really need, though? Like, I can't remember if I've said this before. I probably have. I feel like I have. I think the whole Westworld Encyclopedia Visual Dictionary thing. Yeah, that's what they really fucking need. They need to put out,
which is odd because a lot of big HBO shows have stuff like that. Yeah,
they need to put out, and that would solve so many issues. Like, of course, not everyone watching the show would understand, but we're talking about nitpicky issues that a lot of people probably don't even care about, I guess. And we're talking about like how's the weather work and weird sort of stuff like that that not everyone needs to or wants to.
Westworld, the visual dictionary
to know, but we do. I'd legit think they need to put out a Westworld visual dictionary to explain lots of these small details, because even in like the Star Wars films, sometimes you're like, well, how's that fucking? And I read the visual dictionary and they have an explanation in it. Everyone got all pissed off in episode 7 of Star Wars with the bombs and how like there's no gravity in space, how they drop, blah blah blah. By the visual dictionary, it literally has an explanation for all that written in there. And this is before the criticism comes in, which means they know what, like, in their world, how this stuff works, and it's ready, the information, but it's just not necessary for the movie or the TV show. So whether or not they have the information we're on about, like how the weather works and all that sort of stuff, I'd like to believe they do, because there are a bunch of people sitting in a writer's room kicking around ideas, and eventually someone in the back has to go, well, how's that work? You know, there's always someone to go, how's that work? So I feel like they would have these explanations at least offhandedly maybe mentioned between one another, but like, do you need to include that in the episode? A lot of these details we're after? No, because then if they had them in, would be like, well, that 1 minute scene of them explaining the weather dome was completely killer to the mood. Like, so it's like we want it, but we don't want it in the show. Into something. Do after credit sequences the entire season and have a 1 minute explanation video, like maybe like those Fallout fucking like infomercial how-to type things.
Talking West with not Chris Hardwick.
Yeah, something like that to help out. That would be, or just hire us to do the show.
Yeah,
AMC.
Totally.
All right, what the fuck was I up to? So yeah, the thing opens up in the sky. So it's Kraken reality, or their reality that's leading to another reality. Ghost Station can see it. They all begin charging down, basically. They get down right to an entrance. One dude from Ghost Station is like, fuck this, I'll be the first to test it. I don't give any shit. So the whole time I'm like, does it kill them when they go for it? Like, we don't know until this stage, but this one dude's
Yeah.
just like, I'll fucking go. Don't want a champ. I'll do it. So he charges in, and you see him appear on the other side. And I do like the imagery of the Eden place.
Yeah.
It's a very, very much like, this is a happy place. Like, look how bright it is.
The
the
Windows
grass.
XP desktop wallpaper.
Yeah, it's like, oh, look how pretty it is. And then, but what we do see is that when he enters it, the original body just falls off to the other side of the valley there, which, yeah, makes sense because it's they enter it, the data's gone, the thing, whatever. And if you're like,
it's a very almost like religious kind of imagery.
Yeah. As
symbology,
their body drops,
like a rapture thing, like they're being, and
especially when we find out later the whole world is just beamed somewhere.
Yeah,
don't know, beamed into the heavens for all we fucking know. So, yeah. Maeve and her crew arrive at the Overseen Cliff at the same end as Ghost Station, basically, or close, I guess. And they spot the tear in the reality, or what they refer to as the door. Yeah. Which the whole season we kept hearing the door, so it kind of came true.
It's not speculating what the door was.
It's not a physical door, but it's a if you're going to count the door as something you go through that leads to a different place, then sure, that's what it is. The door. One of the so we back inside the facility. Dolores, Bernard, they have left.
Oh, but before and then the two guys. The lab techs go, what fucking door?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's kind of a good turn on its head with the doesn't look like anything to me.
Doesn't look like anything to me, which but it's nice that line's in there just to.
I have one issue now that I think about it with this. That's not to deal with that. Like, obviously the door opens up, and above on the ground where all the hosts are, it looks like there's a ramp leading up to it.
Yep.
So when they built this fucking thing and terraformed this whole thing, obviously that wasn't built into it.
No, they must
Bernard
have built
obviously added into it. So why the fuck is there this random fucking dirt mound ramp leading up to this imaginary door that they didn't intend for when they originally designed the place?
Well, maybe Bernard went down there with an excavator in his many walking trips and made the ramp.
Maybe it's meant to be a different part of the park with fucking Evil Knievel World.
Maybe. So yeah, Dolores and Bernard leave the park at this stage, or leave the library at this stage.
Yeah.
And then Bernard's like, oh, he's kind of very happy about it. He seems. He's like, well, everyone can go to that fucking world. That sounds great. Let's
happily ever after.
Dolores, let's grab everyone. We'll fucking chuck them into Eden, and it'll be fantastic. And she says that world is just another false promise. And then appears to get shitty about the fact that people are already entering the system because they can see it from inside, like the data entering to it, I guess. And
it comes up with like host upload.
Host uploaded, yeah. And then she's getting shitty about that, thinking that's just the humans once again forcing them into another false world, another false promise, etc., etc., etc. Bernard says they made a choice.
Yeah.
Then Dolores says, I didn't read them all in reference to the books, but I read enough.
Yeah.
Which I suppose if we go ahead in time, is she got Charlotte, she got whatever else.
It also goes back to back when they're in the thing and the paperclip Logan goes, the hosts in the real world wouldn't stand a chance, like with how people are, but with this information, she might.
So, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true. Well, I suppose we still have no idea, really, what the real world is like. We can get out there and it could be very Blade Runner 2049 people running around. We don't really know. So
no, not at all.
What that means, I don't know. We will find out next season.
When it's legal, I believe he says.
Yeah. So when she's outside, she starts erasing the system. She starts erasing the stored.
Yeah. All the hosts, all the guests.
Yeah, she starts erasing all the guest ones, and then clicks the system to start the flooding. Which I'm like, why is that a built-in operation?
Yeah, it's kind of like a soft destruct on a ship.
Yeah, it's like, why is that a button that's there? I mean, if there's a fire,
the server farm's obviously already waterproof.
Yeah,
flooding it even more
doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't know. So that's just one of those. That is a very like James Bond-esque. Well, they're suddenly raising the water and flooding the whole city. Why was that built in as an operation? Like, no, it doesn't even make fucking sense. But yeah, whatever.
No, not at all.
Bernard starts trying to tell Dolores that the host can go to the new world and make it what they want. They can be free, and he's right because like the humans can't get in there. It is literally a virtual reality world that they can't do anything about, and they'll be away and they can. So yeah, I mean he's right. Delos smash, and then Dolores smashes the computer screen in response, basically. It's like, fuck this shit. I like this line. She says, I don't want to play cowboys and Indians anymore, Bernard. And I like the way that she delivered that line, especially the fact they use cowboys and Indians as because you know it's very human. That's the thing about you don't say that anymore because it's wrong. Like cowboys and Indians is I think you can't just run around and play cowboys and Indians anymore. You're not allowed. You don't just dress up as cowboys and Indians. But I think this ties it back into the, you know, what I was saying about the episodes about segregation. You know, white, rich, powerful men trying to tell these things. I think it was just a line purposely written into as a fuck you to the type of world that Westworld was originally kind of created as. You know, meta. What's a meta world like? It was very meta. I felt from the outside point of view, and kind of even looking back at the original Westworld movie and Michael Crichton and that sort of thing. I feel like not fuck you to him, but fuck you to the idea of running around playing cowboys and Indians. So Maeve and her crew, who I will ever refer to as simply Maeve and her crew. They arrive in the Ghost Nation dudes, but she can't find her daughter. So they're running up and down. They're looking for her daughter amongst the lines of people, or scanning up and down, trying to see who they can find. And they look down and they spot they see all these people entering the door, and I suppose they're like, well, maybe she's down there. Like, we'll go walk down there in a second, and then turn around, Clementine. Now this scene, I feel like this scene's hit or miss from what I could see on Twitter for how it plays off from certain people. For me, I wasn't the biggest fan of this scene.
It was okay. I didn't hate it.
Didn't hate it?
No.
Because
there's no forlorn hope.
Well, it's not as bad as that. That's true. So my problem is that Maeve runs off, right, with Hector and stuff like that. They're like, fuck, Clementine, she's spreading the virus to everyone, which I don't find that part silly. I can understand that, I guess, you know.
What I don't understand is how do they know? The only one that witnessed it was Hale and all them, and then Bernard.
Well, I suppose they start seeing it straight away, don't they? Like she starts turning a couple, maybe? No?
No, I think they start running when they have her riding up.
I don't know. Let's see, yeah, but straight away I'm thinking, shoot her.
Yeah.
Right? Hector's there. He's a shot. He's a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
Shoot her. Fucking shoot her. Shoot her at the back of the line. Shoot her before she even reaches the line. Just fucking shoot her. But no. They're like, fuck this, let's run.
Yeah.
Like, Maeve and Hector and whoever else could have just stood there, and you shoot her dead before she reaches the line. Yeah. And she doesn't start spreading because, of course, in a minute they get down there. She starts turning on everyone. Everyone starts fighting as she's passing them, spreading her Wi-Fi fucking virus and shit. Whatever. I have no problem with that being the thing. My problem is why the fuck didn't they just shoot her? And then when they finally do decide to shoot her, turn around and take a stand. And what's her fucking name? Did I write
Armistice.
Armistice. Yeah. So Armistice finally shoots her dead. Her body drops, but because her body's still there, she still continues spreading the virus. Yeah. That's fine. That all makes sense. But if you shot her body dead before she even reached anyone...
Yeah, she would have been out of range.
She would have been out of Wi-Fi range.
Yeah.
It's just... Once again, 2 times this episode, shoot her in the head. Like, Man in Black, shoot Dolores in the head.
Definitely.
Clementine... whoever, shoot Clementine in the fucking head. Shoot her. Or at least try. No one even tried. No. So I just got angry at this thing because nothing annoys me more in shows like this when you're just like, just shoot, and no one's even trying. Like it's not even like they're shooting and missing.
I think it's even worse with the shows because it's so renowned for having it all thought out.
Yeah, and then they still do stuff that I would consider very
stupid.
just not up to the quality of standard of the show that we're talking about. Not a big budget HBO show like Westworld. And Westworld, they took so much time off between season 1 and 2 to write it, because the Jonathan Nolan talks about how they want to do it right and blah, blah, blah. Cool. That's great. Sounds amazing. They talk about it once again when they're talking about going into season 3. When will season 3 be? It'll probably not be until 2020, I guess. And they're going to take all the time. But if you're taking all that time, then you still go over a script so many times and go, well, that seems fine. Because if you showed me this script straight away, I would have been like, why isn't anyone fucking shooting her? Like,
exactly, yeah.
How many people look over these scripts and still go, well, it's fine because it looks cool?
There's also wonder if it's like HBO in a way go, oh, we want our big budget action scene thing.
Yeah, and it's like, well, what looks cool over plot?
Yeah.
Because if they just shoot her straight away, she drops and you're like, fuck, that's good. Because she would have fucked shit up totally.
Everyone's saved.
That's everyone's saved compared to, well, no one shoot her, but then it adds a cool scene for everyone to view, to watch. It looks cool, but the moment you click onto it doesn't make sense. It kind of just ruins the whole scene. It's not cool anymore.
And also another thing it brings up is all those hosts that are in the fucking Congo line. They're obviously not awoken.
No. Not proper awoken.
No, so if them going into the fucking door, are they just stuck in the same fucking loop thing that they've been programmed with?
Let's just assume that they awaken fully when we go into. I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point, though, does it? Because it's not going to. But I mean, maybe they're just stuck in the same loop thing. I don't know. We will never find out. Back outside the elevator, though, Man in Black has finally awakened. After what seems like a very long time, and he wraps up his hand, somehow refusing to die once again gets shot 4 times, whatever, patched up a little bit, gets 3-4 fingers blown off, whatever. He's like, nah, no problem, mate, just wrap it up, whatever. I've heard if I find water in Westworld, it will save me. So what I need to do is find water.
I know there's a bunch of water down there. I built the
There's
place.
water down there, so yeah, I help build it. I go down, I find water. Everything will be fine because that's the elixir of life down here. It's great. We go back down to Dolores and Bernard, who are in the facility. Bernard saying that he won't let you hurt people anymore, says Dolores. She responds, your people or ours? Straight away setting the line in the sand, really. This is the thing.
You know what it reminds me the most of is Dolores is Magneto and Bernard is Professor Xavier. Yeah. Where it's very us and where Bernard is kind of on a path to coexistence. Bernard's
like, not all humans are great. Yeah. Sure, some of them are bad, but yeah, he is very much...
They don't all deserve to die.
They don't all deserve to die. Not all... Everyone... He is very much... Yeah, that's a very good analogy. I hadn't to think of it, but that's pretty much season 3 of Westworld, I guess.
Yeah.
Is X-Men 2.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be Bernard and Dolores kind of like working together, but also working against each other.
Against each other, yeah. It's going to be weird. That's... Yeah. So... But yeah, Dolores draws the line in the sand very much, and if you don't think she's the bad guy at this point, I don't know how you can still say she's like the good guy. She's the bad guy of the story.
100%.
So she's 100% the bad guy. She's not, some humans can live. It is human genocide, kill them all, I want what the fuck. And I mean, you can make the argument that, well, what they did to her, blah, 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 blah. But at some point, right, you got to say,
yeah, you can't.
Genocide.
Let's make an excuse for Hitler because he was picked on as a kid.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Hitler was bullied at school, so by people outside. You know, one day people from England or somewhere came to visit his high school, and they kicked him a couple of times. So, and there was an Australian dude there, and whoever else. You know, it was like there's Jews picked on him, so so he decided to kill them all. That's it's not exactly how it works. Bernard makes a stand against Dolores, though, saying, you know, I won't let you do it, blah, 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 blah. Dolores says, if you side with me, we will win. The we, of course, being the host. the host. He pulls a gun out and points it at Dolores and says she will kill every man, woman, and child if she can, staring stating she will burn their world to the ground, which I think was like an overplay thing the whole season of like burning people's worlds to the ground and stuff. Yeah. I fully believe Dolores kind of just wants to go out to the real world, just genocide, burn literally their whole world to the ground. She states, "You can't understand it all," and begins begging her case. The water is rising, the facility at this place, and is close to being above the level of escape, like above the platform. And then I like this line. This was one of my favorite lines from Bernard the whole season, I felt. He says, "This isn't a dream, Dolores. This is a fucking nightmare," and then shoots her. But also the way he delivered the line, I felt was like really, really good. I that was a standout line, I think, of the
This episode. Is the first oh shit moment of the episode too, I think.
Just shooting her like that.
Yeah, because they tease it too, because when they first come in there, they see Dolores' body, and you go, "Oh fuck, what's happened?"
Yeah, you go, "Oh fuck, what's happened?" Then you find out about Eden and stuff, and you're like, "Okay." Yeah, she goes to Eden or something like that. Yeah. But then they get out and then have a shooter, and then you're like, Dolores is dead.
Fuck, is that Dolores done for?
That's Dolores is actually done for. But no. So outside, everyone is still fighting and making their way through the tear into the new world, or whatever you want to explain as. AK spots Maeve, runs towards her. Maeve's people are all dying, pretty much. Yeah. Nearly everyone is fighting now. Maeve tells, she spots up to whoever, it's just telling people to run, etc., etc., etc. Dora appears to suddenly remember Maeve when she runs up to them and finds them. So she
says something like, "I'll always protect you," or "I promise."
Well, they have a flashback, like she's looking at the door. Yeah. And what I found funny though is because the daughter's there with her new mum or whatever. Yeah. And the new mum's like, "Who are you, crazy lady who showed up at my house one day? Like, tell me what should I do? What is
you kidnapped my daughter?
But please,
all these people,
please help us." Then so the daughter appears to suddenly remember her, and then Maeve says, "You have my heart." Yeah. AK grabs the daughter and the new mum and leads them off towards the door. Maeve does some Matrix shit, which is quote for quote what I wrote down, holding her hand out and pausing all the hosts, looking back over.
I read as Jedi stuff.
Really? I just read it.
Yeah, because she had the fucking robe thing going on.
Oh, that's true. Looking back over her shoulder, she tells her daughter she loves her, and then Maeve is shot several times as the humans appear over the edge of the cliff. She's still holding the host for a couple seconds. I feel like she's getting shot.
The fucking humans can finally shoot now.
Yeah. Apparently. Yeah. All the way up, whoop, whoop. Bang, dead. This close? Nah. Yeah. No chance in hell. Can't land it. She falls to the ground dead, and then everyone begins,
fighting again. Yeah.
Quote unquote dead. And then everyone begins fighting again. AK makes it into Eden. For a second, I thought he got shot, and I was about to say, "Fuck you, Westworld. You can't do that."
He did get shot.
Well, his body got shot as his mind was entering, I suppose, is the thing. And then he finds Kahana waiting for him inside the facility. Which, going back to the I didn't think of it until you said it half an hour ago, or however long this episode's been going for. Yeah. The whole thing about the religion aspect of the whole thing is because
kind of like heaven.
So he dies. He in his world, he purposely dies. He wakes up in what he would presume to be limbo, hell, heaven, something, is what he would put it as. He then goes, finds her body, which is dead in that world as well. So, and then he goes back to the facility and comes back to whatever he perceives the reality he's living in to be, which maybe he perceives the reality he's living in to be limbo. Maybe he's living in limbo between heaven and hell. You don't really... He never really explains, and you'll never know because it would be silly. At what point could you have a scene where he explains what he considers everything to be? But, you can put it to a point where maybe he considers Westworld to be limbo between heaven, hell, something like that. Because he doesn't perceive it as the real world. He keeps saying the world is fake.
Yeah.
Several times he'll say straight up the world is fake. But I think it's a nice payoff that after he dies and sees her lifeless body in wherever he was, that they do get this very escape to heaven type spiritual scene where he enters this new place and straight away she is there waiting for him on side inside the new world. So I think that's another aspect of the spiritual elements of this episode, I guess. And for people, I saw someone like how could she be that? Of course, we literally saw Dolores. That's what I'm saying. Dolores was in that facility. Everyone else. It's like there was, as far as I'm concerned, there was a copy of every single fucking.
If that's the case, then why do all these hosts need to fucking go through this door, wouldn't there already be a copy of them in there?
Maybe. Well, no, because not Eden.
But then how does she get there then?
Maybe she got uploaded, but I don't know. They can explain it. They can not explain it. I did like it though, because she's the only person they show.
It was a touching moment.
Yeah, she's the only person we see who's not brought. I mean, they can go back and say that he fucking took her brain out, had it in his pocket this whole time. You know, some fucking garbage like that. So inside the facility again, Bernard picks up the Abernathy encryption key. Yeah. Then we cut down and we see that Man in Black is inside the elevator. He's now heading down inside the elevator to get revenge on Dolores, I guess is his big plan as he's drawing his guns. The elevator opens and Bernard finds no one inside though, which I was like, shit.
He puts the ball in his pocket and goes inside.
I was waiting for a second. I'm like, please don't do it to me. Please don't have the elevator open and Man in Black just shoots the first person he sees and just kill Bernard. I'm like, fucking. But for a second, I was like, I'm getting there. Bernard exits the facility, kind of just like, very much, fix my tie and I'll just
wipe my hands in my pants.
Everything's fine.
All over it,
then we see the humans are shooting all the hosts that are on the ground that aren't fully dead, like making sure one to the brain, one to the brain, one to the brain, making sure they're all actually dead, I guess.
Thing to note here, which will be important later, is that when Bernard exits, the Man in Black isn't there.
Yeah. Well, they would have crossed paths in the elevator, is the thing. So
would they?
What? You reckon they... I mean, if he entered the elevator, they would have crossed paths, surely.
Yes, but it'll tie in later.
Okay.
I'll bring it up later.
Bernard finds Elsie and runs up to her, and Elsie's...
Yeah, the biggest thing was that Elsie's on fucking Hale's side now.
Well, I don't feel like she was on Hale's side. She was just kind of on... Like, if the hosts are trying to start a uprising, this seems like the better thing to do, I suppose. Like, you can't... my initial reaction was, fucking bitch! But
yeah, but she just seemed to have like a wardrobe change in a like not mentality but mannerisms changed. Like she just came across as evil to me, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, I think maybe they were trying to give that off. I guess I don't know. Then Bernard starts getting shitty, asking you helped her and all this sort of stuff, and that's when she explains, well, I didn't really have a choice. Blah 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 blah. She tries to explain that they needed to do something about. Well, they go back to the facility. They ride together, which is like awkward car conversation where you just had an argument with someone and don't want to talk, I'm sure, or something like that. And then they're back in the facility and Elsie's trying to explain that they need to do something about him. And then she says she'll talk to Charlotte about Bernard. And she's like, oh, she'll understand. We won't get shut down. No one else needs to know. We'll just tell Charlotte. And then we can work on it because you're not safe. Like, you're not able to... I mean, she's right to a degree. Like, Bernard isn't stable. He's not sane. He's still seeing Ford and all this sort of stuff that's going on. Like, his system is broken to a degree. So she's right up to a point. Then Elsie's does a very... What was it? All system... Whatever they fucking say. I can't remember.
Yeah. All systems... something like that.
Yeah, whatever they say, and then tells Bernard tells Bernard to sit the fuck down on the chair, and she says that she's going to go down.
Which makes me come up. Made me think. There was a scene where guards go all systems like they do that thing, which is made me think, why the fuck are they doing it when they know full well that it doesn't work?
Well, it doesn't work
it's
on
late
most
into
people.
The show.
Yeah, I don't know. They still just keep trying it, are they? And I was wondering why it worked on Bernard, because he's like fully awakened. Is the other thing.
Is he fully awakened though?
Well, I suppose, yeah, maybe.
I think the argument to be made, which we'll get when he starts imagining Ford, like when he brings Ford back.
Yeah, which is his actual...
Which is his own subconscious. I think that is the point where he becomes awakened, I guess. Or when he realizes that Ford wasn't actually there and it was actually himself.
Yep. So that's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that was a brain ticking over for a second. Okay, got you.
Cog's working.
Yeah, I can see the cog. Yeah, and then I was like, okay, got you. So yeah, Elsie goes down to talk to Charlotte about blah 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 blah. Elsie spits it, trying to talk shit. She's basically like, "You were fucking copying people's brains. Like, you know what people do if you find out." Then Charlotte tries to turn on and says, "Well, you can keep that a secret. I'll give you a job." Basically, tries to blackmail
with moral flexibility.
yeah, something like that. And then, she says, "I wish you was the kind of person with more flexibility I needed, but I read your file." Because she would have a file because she's been in the parks. So there's a clone of Elsie somewhere. So if you're like, "Oh, I wish Elsie was back in season 3," maybe, there's always a chance at the moment with this show. And then Charlotte shoots Elsie, and Bernard's up in his chair, kind of unable to move, but you can tell he's having a emotional reaction to the shooting of Elsie, because even after she kind of fucked him, I believe she legit liked him to a degree, I guess is the thing. And then Bernard is suddenly back in the future timeline. And we're going to reach a stage here shortly in the coming moments of this episode where I'm going to have to switch the timelines and retitle them. But for what we've called the future timeline the entire season, Bernard is remembering that she shot Elsie is the thing. So once again, I feel the whole season is very much just whenever we're going back into the past, it's him just remembering stuff. And this is another moment where we literally see a scene and then it switches back to Bernard having a reaction to what we just witnessed in the show in the past timeline, which is why I always just take it as him remembering stuff.
We're living through his memories, I guess.
Yeah, basically. So he's remembering that. He says that you shot her.
Yeah.
Charlotte's like, what? What are you on about? And then fucking shoot anyone. But I mean, this is the thing. Dolores don't know that she shot. No. Dolores don't know that she shot Elsie. So she's legit just like, I don't fucking know what you're on about. Like, I didn't shoot her. Which also
makes sense because she'd be like denying it in front of.
Well, she'd be denying it anyway. But I think it's funny. Even in character, Dolores would just be like, what? I don't know what you're on about. They find the key on Dolores's body, the Abernathy thing, and they put it into the system. They get into the PC. Yeah. So Dolores broke the screen on one, but they go over to a different PC and like put it in or something. I found that weird because I was like, what was the point? What was the point of what she broke?
I think it might have been the screen where they were wiping the people.
Okay, so they can't see that. Okay, I'll buy it. Then Bernard suddenly realizes something. It seems, or he's living in his past and present at the same time, or something. He's having like a bit of a mental breakdown.
He goes back to the I killed them all. He goes, we know you killed all the hosts.
And then we go,
no, not the hosts.
Yeah, and then we go back to the present, and Bernard's back in that room just after Elsie got shot again, and he plugs himself into his tablet and he's searching for Ford's data. It seems like
How does he gain control? Because he was still frozen when
I suppose it times out after a while. I fucking don't know. Like, does eventually it time out? I don't know. He's searching his recycling bin, but he's already emptied that sucker, so Ford's data isn't in there. And then all of a sudden, he has a moment where he spits at first. He's like, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna be sad. I can't find Ford. And then Ford suddenly appears. And then Ford starts monologuing.
I always told you that we worked with magic. We worked in magic here.
Yes.
Our business was in magic or something like that.
Something like that. And then he's saying stuff like, is there really such a thing as free will for any of us? Blah, 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 blah. Is this the end of your kind, or do you want your kind to survive? Question mark. He asks. Very Anthony Hopkins just monologuing a bunch of stuff. And then back in the future, Bernard is muttering, sorry, over and over and over. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. Which he's saying in real life as well. Or in the present, he's saying. Yeah. And that's coming over to the future. And then the boss dude of Delos Security or whatever pulls out a gun, asking what he's sorry for. Because as you would if a madman's on the ground, just being sorry, I guess. Yeah. And then we see flashes of Bernard and Ford making someone. Yeah. Which they call an epilogue to the situation, I guess. Which at first I thought was, when I first saw the couple shots, I thought it was like flashback to them working together, but it's not. I find it interesting they call it an epilogue though. When we go back to the future, Bernard says he made a choice. It is, and then we see old mate way out on the computer system who says, it isn't if this isn't the guest data, there's something else.
Yeah, because it's way too big.
It's a way too big file.
Which, funny thing, when they said that, I read that someone did the math on Reddit that 1,024 lines of code times 4 million like host data is only like 1.2 terabytes or something like that.
Well,
They have a massive server farm for 1.2 terabytes.
I've got 1.2 terabytes under my desk at the moment. Like, not even underwater.
Yeah.
Then Bernard says he killed them all again, and they once again like, we heard you say it like a million times. We understand you killed them all. And he says, no, I killed all of the humans. And then we go back to the past again, and we see Charlotte is smoking a cigarette, watching a bunch of bodies being collected, I guess, and whatever else is happening. And then we see another Charlotte, naked Charlotte.
Terminator Charlotte.
Naked Terminator Charlotte.
Give me your boots and your clothes.
Yeah, it's very rapid. So many Terminator things happening. And then she walks out and then says hello.
Pops her. Yeah.
No, in my timeline, she walks out, we see it. Then it goes to the future again. We see Charlotte shoot everyone in the room. And then we go back to the past and see Charlotte shoot the OG Charlotte. It's very much like, beep, 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 beep. What's happening? Charlotte shoot Charlotte. Charlotte shoot everyone in the room. Charlotte shoot Charlotte. What the fuck is going on? Because at this stage, they still haven't revealed who it is. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this show? It's too much. And then we go back to the future timeline. And we see it revealed that Dolores was put into Charlotte's body. That's the big twist of the season.
Tessa Thompson needs some sort of recognition here because when it reveals that it's Dolores, like she gets Dolores' mannerisms down, the jawline, the way she talks, fucking everything.
Gets it down. That's what I'm saying. Like when we've talked about her before, and you were saying like she plays stereotypical corporate manager stuff. I mean, that's done on purpose. And it just doesn't make her that interesting of a character, but I believe it's done on purpose. And I know Tessa Thompson's a great actress. Like, she's fantastic. And we've talked, like saying, she does so many different roles and stuff. But yeah, this is the first moment in the show, within Westworld, that she finally actually kind of got to show that, I guess, by just doing a 180 switch and just playing Evan Rachel Wood all of a sudden. Playing Evan Rachel Wood playing Charlotte, right? Yeah. It's something. It was good though. So then everyone's dead in the room bar. Now pause. I'm going to call her Dolores. And at some point when we get towards further and there's two of them, we're going to have to decide what we call each one. But at the moment, I'm referring to this as Dolores.
Dolores.
for future reference.
Dolores and Dolores.
Yeah. So Dolores says, I thank you for my second chance, but I wouldn't have needed it if you hadn't killed me in the first place. Which is a bit like, fuck you, mate. Dolores changes the coordinates and then shoots Eden to a new place.
Oh, yeah, because when they first rock up there, they're setting up this big fucking rocket launcher looking thing, which is just like a satellite uplink. Yeah.
Well, it looks very futuristic and sci-fi-ish, but I mean, it's just a satellite. Compared to, like, if it was today's age and they would walk a mini, like, people take satellites out to places where they have to set up stuff, but it just looked ridiculous because it was like very futuristic Canon, like, satellite system or something. So yeah, Dolores changes coordinates, says she's shooting them off to somewhere where no one will be able to find them, which I found interesting because, like, she didn't really like that place, but
yeah, he goes, oh, what are you doing? And she's like, I had to change my mind or something like that.
Yeah, she's like, I had to change of heart.
Yeah.
And the change of heart is to actually save the... Because before it was very blunt, like, anyone in fucking Eden, fuck them.
Yeah.
And fuck everyone else. I just want to go out there and kill all the humans and fuck my people and fuck the humans and fuck everyone. It doesn't even matter. But now it's, I'll kind of save the people in Eden. I'll send them off to somewhere, whatever they want to go. I don't know if Eden will ever come back into it in the show. Not. I hope it doesn't. I don't feel like it's necessary.
Did you also catch when the daughter goes through and the mother goes through, the mother changes appearance to Maeve?
No.
She does.
Oh. Really? I have to go back. Well, that's weird though. I don't understand how that works. Okay.
The only thing I can reconcile is that, I don't know, Maeve kind of like uploaded a version of herself to her daughter or something when she said, take my heart with you or something like that.
Oh, yeah, she could. They can get away with that with her superpowers and
Because she
stuff.
unlocked fucking Ford Kiss powers.
Yeah, she's got Ford Kiss powers now, so they can get away with it. That's a good point. They can get away with it. But yeah, so she shoots Eden off to somewhere. I don't think it's important with the show going forward, but they are always going to have it in the back pocket, see about it.
I honestly hope that all the people in Eden are done.
Mm-hmm.
Maeve's done. Because honestly, that wrapped up her storyline perfectly.
Well,
like,
now, yeah,
she sacrificed herself to save her daughter, which is all she ever wanted to do.
Yes.
I don't want the fucking fuck knuckle lab techs to bring her back in any way or anything like that.
Yeah, well, I'm on board with you now because I didn't realize. I kind of have to go back and look now because if that legit changes her to, if the mother changes to May and somehow she did her Ford Kiss, carrying my heart with you or something, then yeah, her storyline's finished. Like that's her whole mission this whole season was just to be with her daughter.
Yeah, even if I'm mistaken and that didn't happen, like it still wraps up her story perfectly.
Well, as perfect as you can get, I guess. But yeah, the problem with this is that she's one of the strongest actors in the show, I feel.
And also, personally, I'd like it because it does away with that stupid fucking whisper power.
Yes, exactly. Well, if she comes back next season, just get rid of the fucking power at least or something because I've had enough of that too. It's a bit ridiculous. So yeah, then back in the room, Dolores shoots Bernard, stating there was never a chance for them to escape as them. Yeah. Ford understood that. And then we cut across and we get back to the past, I guess. Bernard's on the beach. Yes.
Oh, yeah. This way, yeah.
Yes. Bernard's out at the beach. I don't know why he's here, at what point this is really, amongst everything else that's been happening. He's just walked out to the beach or something, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
So he's in the facility.
For whatever reason.
He's in the facility in that top room. Elsie gets shot, starts talking to Ford, makes Charlotte, or makes the Charlotte body, puts Dolores' brain in the Charlotte, leaves it to do whatever it needs to do. Like says, how you going, Dolores? No clothes, have a gun, go shoot the real Charlotte, I guess. She walks off. Bernard's like, all right, well, that's my job done. I'll go walk down to the beach. Like, that's surely where I suppose where it fits in timeline was. So he walks down and he realizes that he's been imagining Ford the entire time. Yeah. And he has like a real moment of this, of like, like you're not real at all. You're not code left over. You literally imaginate my imagination. But, the bigger thing with this, of course, is, well, AI shouldn't have the ability to imaginate anything like that. Like, they don't have a real brain. They shouldn't be able to just imagine stuff up, but he has. Bernard then says that if they search my mind, they'll be able to find what I've done and undo everything. So that's what he's...
Yeah, he jumbles up his memories.
He jumbles up his memories here somehow. I suppose he just presses something.
It's like this jigsaw game that my grandma has. You just press a button and it just shuffles everything around.
Yeah, sure. And then Bernard states that as Ford starts, disappearing. Yeah. Ford disappears.
Which was another kind of like religious kind of fucking imagery. Yeah. He's fucking talking about, I'll see you in, like, basically saying, I'll see you in the afterlife.
Something like that, yeah. It's like, Ford's like, maybe, well, I took this as, so Ford's on screen. Yeah. Maybe look at the outline of the beach. It's fucking fantastic. There's a whole world out there, all sorts of stuff. And then he says, maybe one day we'll see each other again, Bernard. Maybe one day they'll be great. Which to me, I just took as the showrunners are saying, this is it. Maybe we can use Anthony Hopkins again. Depends on if he doesn't die or not in 2 years' time.
I don't want him to bring him back because this is like, you can't have this kind of like heartfelt fucking
and then bring him back.
Yeah, like, which is essentially saying like it's a goodbye.
It's a good way to get rid of him because it's like you shoot him, everyone thinks he's dead. Okay, you want to bring him back this season in the way they did? Fine, great reveal. Episode 7, 5, 6, whatever fucking episode it was. Great reveal. Used him well this season, and then you have a great end off to him. I felt like it just was good. The camera panned around Bernard, like the body, like he was there for 1 second. Then when the camera came out the other side, he was disappeared.
And then
bye.
Not knowing where the show's going to go, if it's hypothetically doesn't come back to Westworld at all, like I don't think Ford has much agency in the real world. He's
No.
more like the god of Westworld.
Yeah. So, yeah, I hope he's done for. So Bernard lays down on the beach here, which is where we find him at the first episode.
Loop back
of this
around
season.
to the first episode.
Right back around to the first. So he doesn't wash up from anywhere. He literally just lies down on the ground for X amount of time, wiping his memory, jumbling it up, doing whatever he's doing, messing up his system, and then they find him and he's legit confused because he has fucked around with his system because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. So I thought that was a cool way to tie that whole back in. So people can, that's what I'm saying, they do answer some stuff. It's not like they were like, well, that doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You think about stuff, it all starts to make sense. On the beach, humans are being evacuated back in the, well, this is new present.
Yeah.
New present. Dolores is walking towards the beach where humans are being evacuated.
Yeah.
So they're all being scanned to make sure they're real. They show shots of that. They show this huge fucking jumbo jet thing taking off. The CGI wasn't exactly amazing. I could tell that they were struggling with their budget to make that jet take off or what was happening there. So Stubbs comes up to talk to Charlotte as Dolores says she's approaching the boat to exit. And he says that he said, I thought you were staying on the island to oversee the next project, blah, 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 etc., etc., etc. Now, I didn't get the exact line, but Stubbs also basically just says that he's a host, more or less.
He's just like,
Ford created me.
Yeah, Ford created me. My number one prerogative is to protect the host kind of thing.
Within the park, he says.
Yeah, he's like, it's like it's my cornerstone or something like that.
Yes.
What I want to know is how did he fucking know Charlotte was Dolores?
That's what I don't get. Yeah. If you want to give me these lines that basically hint at Stubbs being all but shouting in the face of it that he's actually a host, sure. How does he know that? Yeah, that's not actually Charlotte. I don't know. That's weird. That's another one. This is number 2 thing that's happened in this episode that I'm just like, I don't understand at all. I don't even have any clue.
How do you think him being a host adds anything? So I think it was just fine being guy that was employee that was actually cared about the fucking guests.
I don't think it adds or changes anything in particular. It just goes towards the whole Ford.
It just feels like it's a point gun. Oh, he's a host too.
Well, I feel like it was just trying to say that everyone that was close to or around Ford is a host, really.
Yeah. I guess.
So Ford just surrounded himself by hosts because we preferred hosts by the end, I feel, like his whole mission is he kind of creates a new species and he wants to see them overthrow the humans. So who's his head of security? A host. Who's his head side man? Bernard, host. So, that's the kind of road I took it down, I guess. And then the random lady runs up to them and says, we've found a high value survivor. And Stubbs says he'll be there in one hot second. Stubbs then tells Dolores about, all these sort of stuff about how his job is to protect the hosts that are actually on the island, which is like the big wink moment. And then walks off to go.
He waves through. Goes, she's fine. Let her go.
She's fine. Let her go.
Scanning everyone.
Yeah, but I saw people online again with the whole scanning thing. But we went through this with other characters before. Where it's like if they're fully awoke or they've hacked their system in some way, it's not going to pick it up. And like there's ways around it. Or Ford could have designed it. They're using tech that's designed by people there who are also working against them from the inside. So I don't need there to be a big explanation of how she manages to get through it. And that's such a sloppy thing to let slide that there's no way that they just show it gets scanned, and then they're like, oh fuck yeah, how does she get past security? That's really bad writing even for this show. So then we see that the high value target is Man in Black, who's alive on the bedding system somewhere inside there. And then we see Teddy is still alive within Eden. We see a shot of that just to show you that I don't know what the point of it really was. Just, hey,
I guess that he got to live happily ever after.
Yeah. It's like maybe before Dolores sent the Eden off, she uploaded Teddy or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, I think it's implied because if she goes into his head to dig out the fucking bullet to put it in the Man in Black's gun, I think she pulled out his little fucking pearl.
Yeah, and took his pearl and
Yeah.
sent it to Eden, I guess. Is the thing. I don't know. Yeah, so Sylvester and Lutz are the ones you're on about too, and they're being yelled at, being told to help out sorting bodies or burn the one. Like,
you still work here, don't you?
Yeah, you still fucking work here. Get to work, you slackers. Yeah, which I thought was a weird scene considering what they'd been through.
Yeah.
Surely they'll be like, you guys can rest. Like, you got kidnapped and whatever else. Like, surely
Delos is an evil
have
corporation.
a nice guy, but they're just like, no, get the fuck at work. And then they look over, and of course they see
Maeve's dead on the
Maeve's dead body over there, which hints at exactly what you're hinting at. Yeah. And then back on the boat, we see Dolores has a bag, and inside the bag she has 5 control units.
Yeah.
Count them, 5 people.
5 that we can see.
5 that we, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Then we fade to black, and I thought the episode was going to end. Yeah.
Yep.
Because it did fade to black fully, and I was like, okay. And then, no, we're back. We're in the real world now. Well, you don't know this straight away. Because you hear over the black, is this now, as we come back to Bernard and Dolores.
Yeah.
Actual Dolores body in the facility doing the training. And he then asks, how am I alive? Where are we? And then the camera does the whole sweep behind the body and switches to the new ones, which is what I was saying at the start. As I'm pretty sure that's just supposed to hint at this is trial, whatever, of bringing Bernard back. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Dolores 2.
I don't believe it's... That's the thing that doesn't make me think that at the beginning is now. Because I don't believe it would take him that many fucking attempts to get him back. The way I read it was that she dug out his pearl and took it and just made
that's
it
what I thought.
for him.
I mean, that part makes sense. Just dig out his pearl. I mean, she shot him in the head, but
Yeah.
she could download data off the system and put it into a fresh pearl if she had fresh ones. So
Yeah.
then Dolores 2. So we've got Dolores in the facility in this scene. That is Evan Rachel Wood, Dolores. She's in there. Then outside we've got Charlotte, who we're presuming is still Dolores.
Is it Dolores?
Do you wanna have a go?
I have theories. It's just I have no idea.
So yeah, but either way, I'm just going to refer to them as their actresses' names. I feel for the rest of this episode to try and make it easier. Evan Rachel Wood says, "If I were a human, I would have let you die."
Yeah,
which is true. I feel like that's a good line. You know, she actually saves him, and then she has this whole back and forth line of basically setting up the plot of a comic book movie, which is what we were saying before. Like, she says, we will hate each other. You'll try to stop me. You'll probably succeed, but it won't matter because we both win. Or something along those lines, which is basically hinting and setting up
the lines of where I fail, you'll succeed or something.
Where I fail, you'll succeed, yeah. So she's basically brought her arch nemesis to life for the sake of having an arch nemesis, thinking that she needs him anyway, and no matter if they're back and forth in the world trying to fight each other, in the long run it's still going to work out for her mission or something like that. I don't it's a very comic booky, I feel, plot line though, of her basically bringing her nemesis to life, and the nemesis being the bad guy in this case, because Bernard is the good guy who's going to try and stop her, and she goes out into the real world. She leaves with what's the fuck?
Dolores.
She leaves with Dolores. Dolores and Dolores leave the facility, leave them in there. So they head out into the real world. So then you've got those two off, and they're the bad guys the next season, right? So you got them being the bad guys, and their plot is going to be, we want to kill all of the human race, destroy it all, and we want to take over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's boiling it down to simplicity, but that is basically what it is. They want to take the world. Yeah. And then they've left Bernard in the facility as their opposite for some reason. I feel that she was just giving him a proper fighting chance or something. I don't really know. Maybe that's to do with her change of heart or something along those lines, I guess, and then leaves him in the facility, and that's setting him up to be the hero of the next season. So, but yeah, so Bernard gets up, walks around the house, he spots the machine that was used to make his body, I guess.
The milk bath.
Yeah, the bath thing, and then we hear Dolores's or Evan Rachel Wood's voice over VO this scene. We are the authors of our own stories now. And then Bernard opens the gate, gives him, he gives a little bit of a smile, you see on his face. He has a little bit of a smirk or a smile. I think it's maybe just because he's realizing he's actually free in the real world to some degree, and he's happy about that, I guess. And then he walks out. Now, people like, you can get angry they didn't show the real world. I don't think they know what the real world looks like to this point, like not to the degree. We've seen the real world once before, only one city, like years and years and years and years before this, so it could have changed heaps. So what they're going to do with the real world going forward, I don't really know. But then we thought the show was over. The credits started rolling, and then we get an after credit scene.
Everyone almost turned the show off.
Yep, basically. Man in Black, so in the after credit sequence, you see Man in Black arrive at the bottom of the elevator that we saw him get into early in the episode before. Well, is it? You don't know, but we see.
No. So, what the theory is that he died on the beach there, and he never actually entered the elevator because when Bernard comes out, he's not actually there. So they're saying that the QA picked him up there, took him to the beach.
He died.
Yeah, he died on the beach, and then. And he's like living the loop
inside the park here, like Delos was.
Yeah.
Well, the only confirmation, I thought it was nice in that Jonathan Nolan interview, he actually gave confirmation and said this is in the future.
Yeah, and it's not a simulation either.
Yeah.
Because every time they go into the computer, it gets letterboxed.
Yes.
And this wasn't letterboxed.
It wasn't letterboxed, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's some point in the future, not simulation. The other things to point out, of course, is when he arrives at the bottom of the elevator, the facility is wrecked.
Yeah, it's all like filled with sand almost.
Yeah, so it's not like flooded, wrecked or something like we saw, because obviously it got flooded. This is destroyed, like the park is run down. Like this is Jurassic Park 2, you know, they're returning like this is of Westworld where they're going and the facility is kind of run down and wrecked. But he arrives at the bottom, Emily's there. He says, "Oh fuck, I knew it." Which I feel like is...
oh fuck, I'm in the thing already, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says, "I'm already in the thing, aren't I?" And then she says, "No, the system's long gone." He says, "What is this place?" She says, "This isn't the simulation, William. This is your world, or what's left of it." Then they walk into the Delos room, whatever you want to call the Vibe room. We're in the park, my fucking park. How long have you been here? He says, "I don't know." And then she says, "Tell me what you were hoping to find to prove." And then he says, "That no system can tell me who I am, that I have a fucking choice." And then she says, yet here we are again. And then they sit down on the couch, very much like him versus across from Delos. And then he says, "How many times have you tested me?" She says, "It's been a long time, longer than I would have thought."
Yeah.
And then she says, "The baseline interview helps us identify." He says, "Identify what?" And then she says, "Fidelity." And then the scene ends. So yeah, all we know, I feel like that scene's just chucked in as a red herring type thing to confuse a lot of people or something. Because I like, what is that scene important to the next season? I don't know. Are they going to flash? Because if that's in a timeline where the park is wrecked.
There was a interview with Lisa Joy. It takes place far, far future, according to Westworld creator Lisa Joy. Joy cautions this won't be the predominant setting for the third season, but it is a point in the timeline that she said that her and co-creator Jonathan Nolan are very much driving toward.
Yeah. Well, it's if we're going to judge everything off it, that is park wrecked timeline. That is no one's there. That is, or maybe someone's there, but that's what I'm saying, the Jurassic Park reference. Because it's not bad to bring that in because of Michael Crichton and everything. So it's a given comparison, I guess. But yeah, it's next season is real world Goliath versus, whatever you want to, what do you want to call it? So how can they do that timeline? I don't know. Is that is this end credits teaser?
Two timeline thing, flash forward, flashback.
They could do the flash forward, flashback, but it's like, does it work next season, or is next season not the time to do that? If they have 4 or 5 seasons planned, is the after credit sequence flashing forward to probably that last season's timeline? Like that could be where we end up, and that would be a nice place to end the show, I guess, when the parks are actually just officially run down, everyone's left, the robots rule the world, whatever they want to do. I suppose the big questions finishing off this episode are, who do you think are in the other bowls, or her things? Whose data do you reckon she's going to try to create? Because she's created Dolores or whatever. Like she's either taken her data out and put it back into her original body, and then she's put someone else's data into Hale's body, which I saw some people theorizing she could have put Teddy into Hale's body.
I don't think so, because you see Teddy in the thing,
but she could have a copy of the data anyway and put it onto a bowl.
That if they do it, to be honest.
So who would you like to see in the bowls?
I honestly don't know. I hope it's people that we don't know, to be honest.
Some new characters, some new actors next season. Yeah.
I think for the benefit of the show, they need to, I guess, do a wipe in a way.
Yeah.
Just have Bernard and Dolores. Because anyone else that's already been in the show would recognize them, and yeah.
And another thing, this was another one of the big complaints I saw, and one I don't agree with, obviously. I saw a lot of people complaining that the show will be outside the park, at least for some part, next season. People saying, well, the only reason I got interested in the show originally, and the reason I wanted to watch it, was because it was about about the park. The idea of the park was cool. That's what attracted me. I don't want to see robots.
The park's run its course, though. Like, I think people come for that, but then the show evolved beyond that.
The first season does that storyline so well. Like the park life, what it would be like, blah, blah, blah. You've got 10 hours of that, over 10 hours of that. So it's there. Watch that. I was fine with this season still being in the park, and it made sense. But we said several times throughout the season of this that it can't be in Westworld next season. It cannot be in Westworld. It's not going to make sense. Another thing I want to point out from the Jonathan Nolan interview I read, which I thought was interesting, was that they did ask, well, why didn't you... The interviewer said, I found it interesting you didn't just reveal the names of the other parks, since you're probably not going to go to them. And he said, well, I never said we weren't going to go to them. And he said, it basically hints at the fact, well, there's still characters in the park. Like, Westworld may be done, but there's still other parks there that we could use, and there's still characters evolving around the Delos park facilities. So, I mean, my guess for next season, I don't know timeline wise and all that sort of stuff what they're going to do, because I think they'll just use a different system, because the first season was very much, you never realized it was alternate timelines until the end, and that was the thing. This season was from the get-go, we're flashing backwards and forwards, but the game is figure out when's what, how's it all work, etc, etc, etc. Next season, I don't feel like they can do either of those again. Will they try and do alternate timelines and stuff? Maybe. But maybe not. Maybe they'll just do a straight up normal season. But either way, it's going to be Dolores outside trying to do what? And that's going to be really interesting, because they're going to create...
It's honestly, I have no idea how they're going to take it.
I have no idea, And I'm glad that they said that they're going to take the time to work on the show and not rush out the third season next year. I don't want to rush it, because
not another garbage season like this was.
I don't want another garbage season like last season of Game of Thrones. I want the world, whatever they create it to be cool. I want it to be interesting. I want it to stand out to be as interesting as the Westworld, I suppose, or the other worlds we'd seen. Like, it's its own. They've got a chance to do something interesting or very sci-fi-ish with what the world looks like and what the political landscape is and all these sorts of things.
I honestly don't. If they do, they're like not so much separate storylines, but separate stories, and like they do the Dolores thing, and then they do like the park trying to rebuild thing in a way. I guess like I just feel like honestly, I have faith in them doing whatever they want, but in my mind, I can't see them doing the park side of thing in any way that's intriguing compared to what we know what Dolores is doing.
Yeah, I agree, but at the same time, it's that whole thing of, well, if they take a year or however many months to story this out, they're probably going to come up with something that I can't think of in the couple of hours I spent thinking about what they could do with it, I suppose.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is like, well, if they bring Maeve back alive, can they do something interesting with her? I don't want her back alive particularly, but could they do something interesting with her? I can't straight out say no. Like you can always prove me wrong is the thing, I guess. But yeah, I think Westworld is kind of done, but the idea of them going to these other parks, hopefully one being Jurassic Park, and doing it would be so cool if they did it, and it would make sense. It would be such a cool Easter egg, and it would make sense.
Yeah, it'd be hard though. Like, do they?
They can't call it Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
but they can do dinosaurs, and they can call it Jurassic World. They can't call it Jurassic World either. Dino World or something. I don't know. It would be cool. But anyway, that's overall. I thought the finale was interesting. I wasn't bored, that's for sure. A lot of the stuff was happening was I'm confused what's going on, but some of the parts it seemed to slow down, but then it wasn't really slowing down. It's like that weird feeling where you're like, is this slow pace? But then you realize it's actually moving at such a fast pace to the point like it's cutting back and forth constantly, and they just do some really weird. If it's like if the first season was very low level sci-fi, I felt, especially by the time you hit the end of the season, it was very much like, here's a park, bunch of robots, cool ideas. We hint at the ideas of this bigger stuff like the maze, etc. This season was full blown sci-fi. Yeah, hard sci-fi stuff, especially by the time you reach this finale. It's very hard sci-fi, which I like, so that's fine by me. Thank you for joining us this week, YouTube, audio listeners, Twitch, wherever you are. Another episode of BevanWorld. We will be back again one last time next week for a wrap-up episode of BevanWorld, where we will be ranking our episodes, talking about them a bit, why they're our favorites, etc., etc., etc. Give any last, if anything's come up that we can be like, Reddit said this, like the second after we've recorded, we can chuck that in the finale if possible.
Script leaked for season 3.
Yeah, something like that. So we never know what could happen. But
Tarantino world.
Tarantino world. But join us again for next week. For the finale, we'll be ranking our episodes. If you want to tell us what your ranking of all the episodes are, you can do that Twitter @ExplosionPod. You can also do that on our Discord, explosionnetwork.com/Discord. There is a spoiler thread for Westworld on there. Chuck
Some fantastic memes.
Chuck your rankings of everything up in there. And of course, join us live next week when we record the episode, twitch.tv/ExplosionNetwork, where we'll be doing that one. Thank you once again. You can follow Nick on Twitter @LordEmpire. You can follow me on Twitter @VivaLadil, VivaLadil. Until next week, Nick will give you a hot catchphrase as we leave, I guess.
Ring a ding ding. That's the sound of the sub button down there that you've hit.